we're bringing on the Portland Pilots.
Start. Just let you know.
Like, no, really? That's
Got a couple.
Well, great. All right, great to bring on the Portland Pilots. Shantae Leggins, entering year 5, is it now with the Pilots?
Yeah, year 5.
Year 5 has gone by very fast.
Yeah, it's gone by very fast. I go by how tall my daughter gets. So, yeah, it's going by quick.
So, I mean, one of the things going into this year, I mean, unfortunately, we've seen the coaches poll pick 12, but we've also been starting to talk with some who are excited about like the talent that you guys have, and just talk about like what the off season has been like, and then also what training camp has been like for your squad as you're going to be looking to buck every last trend, even our own predictions of what this team can be.
Well, the offseason's been great for us. You know, we've gotten to be able to get some older guys. You know, in the past, we've had 11 freshmen last year, the year before. You know, we had some guys with some injuries and some different guys we had to bring on. But these guys are all a bunch of winners, you know. And so, you know, Matoush next to me, he's been to the NCAA tournament. Riley Parker's been in the NCAA tournament. We got 2 guys that played, you know, in the junior college national championship and won that, you know. So we've brought along some winners with us this year. And I think they all sacrifice a little bit of their game or something for the better of the team. And so we've been able to see that a lot more this year, especially earlier. You know, usually we have to wait a little bit. But this year, I think that's one of the things we hit really hard is you know, being a team and having that winning mentality, and also coming in understanding that you're not getting any respect from anybody, and you know, have that chip on your shoulder. And we've been picked, you know, last in a lot of the polls, and this, that, and the other. But the guys, I think, understand, you know, going into the season, everyone's 0-0, and we just got to be able to play our game.
And thinking about that, of just like thinking about some of the guys who were able to come back and know, again, like last season, you guys ended up playing really well toward the end. Like you won
game out of 6. Yeah.
Right. It's like this was a team that finished, I think it was like 5 in the last 7 you guys won. And there was some momentum kind of building toward the end of the season. Even though there's a ton of new pieces, how much can you take from what you were able to do toward the end of the season last year to bring it into this year?
Well, it's tough because it's new guys, you know, and so they didn't have any feel of that last season. And for me, you know, I've been able to compartmentalize and move on from last season because it's not the same team, and Jermaine's not the same player as last year, and Micah's not the same player as the year before, and Kelson Gebers isn't the same player. They've gotten better, and so bringing other guys and other pieces along with that has been huge for us. And these guys understand, you know, I think what it's going to take for us to make a real big jump. Even though last year we did really well, and everyone, you know, I'm pretty much the whole WCC except for the top, you know, the teams that, you know, Gonzaga, St. Mary, Santa Clara, and San Francisco. Everyone else had to reload with new players, you know, and so looking at that, you know, you're looking at, okay, well, you know, from top 4 on, who else is going to be in there? And so these guys, you know, feel some kind of way because everyone's brought in new guys, you know, and if you guys are thinking about last year's team, well, we're ahead of those last year's teams, but they feel it's about them now, you know, that they were chosen last, and I'm right with them. And so we're excited to be able to go put what we put together this summer, you know, and this you know, early fall right into the season.
So joining the ever-exuberant Shantae Leggins is Jermaine Balsager-Webb, Matoush Vronsky. Jermaine, for you, obviously, one of the few returners coming back. Have you kind of made yourself more of a commanding force, so to speak, in trying to establish what Coach Leggins wants out both on and off the court?
I feel like 100%. I think I stayed here. I didn't go back home until school ended. I stayed here, worked out with Dante when he got in here. I know what Legs wants. I know how Legs wants to play. I know what Legs demands on both sides of the court. And, of course, those are the values I instill in the young guys and the new guys.
And Coach was talking about, like, obviously the perceived disrespect from the media. And is that something when you go back to Portland, you say, we're going to plaster that on our like locker room wall and say we're going to go out and go prove everyone wrong? Or is that something where you internalize it with the team and you say, we're just going to go to work and show everyone up that way?
Legs said something great the other day. He was like, we're not going to go out there to prove anybody wrong. We're going to go out and prove ourselves right, because we know what type of team we are. We know what type of talent we have that we can go out there and win games.
Well said. Matoush, for you, obviously different levels of opportunity when you were at Duquesne. I saw you when you guys played Santa Clara out here in Vegas a few years ago. How have you kind of like built your own confidence and trying to take advantage of the opportunity you're given here at Portland?
I mean, I'm just happy to be in this situation. You know, I just enjoy it. I just love what I do. And, I'm excited about the WCC, about our team. And, I just take what's given to me, and I just work with that.
Seeing how Shante can tell a story pretty much like no other coach in this league, aside from maybe one that I'll keep nameless for now. But how did he kind of like sell you on the Portland program and say, look, here's what you can bring to the table, and here's how I can get the best out of you?
I would just say he was honest. He just told me how is it straight up. He told me what I need to work on, what we need to get better. He told me what I can bring to the table, and I believed him because when we talked a lot, and they proved it to me during the off season that they were right, and I can trust them. So for me, it was just I kind of had that feeling from the beginning that I can trust coaches, I can trust coach, I can trust whole staff. So I just was like, okay, this is the spot, and we picked last, but it doesn't mean anything before the season.
Yeah, everyone's 0-0 right now, as Coach said.
Exactly.
How he mentioned that NCAA experience that you do have, and how have you kind of like internalized it to build the right habits to show what it takes to have winning basketball consistently?
I just feel like it's just we have good guys that even won the JUCO championships, and they also bring in the winning culture that we want to work every day. Even sometimes we're tired, but we still bring it. We still try our best. We listen to coaches. Everybody is coachable. So I just feel like that's a great start where we started in the summer. Just show up every day, just work hard, and I think everybody wants to win. Everybody want to be a winning team. So that's just how it was when I won, and I think that's how it's going to be with us.
Legs. But he brings up the coachability, and the one thing that I think has always been consistent with your teams is that they get better throughout the course of the season. And kind of like with this group of like you talk about like that they're already kind of a step above where the team was a year ago. With that, like where do you think like the potential of this team is, or like how like as far as like growth and development, like what do you see as the full upside of this team?
Well, I had to change how I coach in the summer, and how we get our players there. And so that was the number one thing for us, at least number one thing I looked at when I was seeing what could I have done better with last year's team and this year's team. And these guys will tell you it was really hard right from the beginning because we do get better at the end. And I think it's because we're trying to get these guys to understand, what we're looking for. This year we made it real basic and simple. And now we're starting to put a lot more on these guys, and so I think they've really responded to the hard coaching from the summer, and they've gotten a lot better. So when you look at our team, we're looking at all the Ken Palm. I go through everything you look at. We as coaches, you look at everything and you internalize things and you try to figure out, what's good and what's not good to tell the guys. But it's different. It's a different era of basketball, so they hear everything and they get everything, they see everything, and so they know there's no secrets about what people are thinking. I think this team could do a lot. I think we can make a lot of noise. I know my first year's team when I got here, I thought that team was really good. And I think this team's on par, if not better. Than even with my Eastern guys that came over with me that understood what we were doing. I think, having Jermaine and having these young guys, these older guys understand what we're looking for is huge. And everyone in that locker room has a chip on their shoulder. And so, I'm going into the season very optimistic and excited about where we're going to be at the end of the season because, I think these guys will keep getting better and better every game. It's been every day. I think we've only had one practice last Monday, I believe, where I didn't think our team got better. I think they just stayed, they were very energetic about things. I just think it was a Monday, right? And that was the first time, even from the summer, where I felt these guys, and I think it had a lot to do with our scrimmage. I think they thought they played well. But I think they have gotten better every single day. We talk about getting better a percentage a day, a play a day. I think these guys understand that.
Now, the one thing you mentioned as a difference is that you had a lot more veterans that are coming into this team. Or last couple of years, you've had a lot of freshmen, so there was that growing pains very early on. And while you did see the growth, like it wasn't as the high starting point.
Yeah.
So has that maybe been as simple of a difference as the fact that you have some veterans on this squad, even like between the two of these guys, Riley Parker, and guys who have some years behind them at the college level?
Well, it is. And I mean, you can see us, we've tried everything, Jason and Scott, we've put our heads together and try to figure out how to build a roster and how to do different things. And our coaching staff's been all involved in how can we put our roster and get it to where it needs to get to, where we're competitive every single game and we could put ourselves in the top half of this league. And I felt it was like, hey, let's go get younger guys and build on those guys. And, some of those guys were either too good or not too good, and they ended up leaving anyway, right? And so what we decided was we got to find out some young guys that will play early, but we also need older guys that are mature, that can help these younger guys get to where they need to get to, but also be very, very, I think it's a competitiveness that they bring. Older guys bring a competitiveness because I think they can see the end of their college career, and who knows with the NCAA and how it all works out and if they get the extra years or whatever, but they see it and they play a little bit harder and they understand a little bit more. Every game, every practice could be, it's getting closer and closer to the end. Like Jermaine has probably, I hope, 37 more games left. I'm hoping that's the case. I hope, his career, but he can see that now. It's like I got 30 plus more games left in my career, and you don't want to take those games for granted. You want to give everything your all. And I think with older guys, they see that. Younger guys, I got another year. This could go bad, but these older guys, I think, see that a little bit more, especially the ones I'm dealing with in our program.
Jermaine, as time is ticking, how have you seen this team's identity kind of form, and kind of where do you feel like you guys have grown the most in this short time, and what more do you want to see going forward?
I think our biggest growth all comes from the fact that, as Coach Lake said, that chip on our shoulders. Like, we have Jimbo transferred within the conference. He wants to prove someone wrong. Riley wants to prove he can do it at a higher level. Like, everybody has something they want to prove, and that had all push us to push each other to get to a level where we want to be at.
And for you specifically, the last basketball question, then 2 rapid fire ones, and then we'll get you guys on your way. How do you feel like this team is kind of taking that hard coaching that Coach Leggins was mentioning? Because everyone's got their own different types of personalities and how receptive they are to that.
I think everybody likes us and bringing guys who can't take the coaching. He delivers. So everybody has taken the coaching to heart and wants to improve.
All right, for any of you guys, including Coach, these are 2 quick-fire non-basketball related questions. Who's getting the aux and what are they playing?
Riley's been on aux lately.
Yeah,
Riley's been on aux.
lately.
Yeah,
What's he playing?
he's versatile with it.
Yeah, he plays.
Yeah, he's all over the place. He's all over the place.
Whatever he feels like that day.
So you're telling me if I show up to a Portland practice, I could be at an EDM concert potentially at some point?
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
100% that could happen. Yeah.
And then the last one, I don't know who's got the best read on this yet, but who's the class clown of the Portland Pilots so far this year?
Class clown?
Yeah.
No. It's Jimbo. It's Jimbo.
Dante.
I would say Dante. Jimbo and Jermaine. 2 J's.
Yeah, I agree.
Jermaine, you gonna defend it? You gonna own that one, or what are we thinking here?
I still say as much as the clown for Jermaine.
But
I think it's more of a troll.
yeah.
Okay, I'll take that one. We
got trolls. Yeah.
I agree on that one.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that was officially the halfway point. The Portland Pilots. We wish you guys the best of luck this season. We look forward to covering you guys, and we know there are better days ahead, and we look forward to seeing them.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.